Hi, I'm Liz Parker, and we're here today with Al Adams, National Chain Lead and Channel Marketing with Hershey Foodservice. How are you doing today, Al?
Hey Liz, I'm doing great. It's good to be here.
Great. We're going to ask you a little bit about Hershey Foodservice. So can you start us off with kind of an intro, like how did it get started? What sort of Hershey products can food service companies use as well?
Yeah, sure. So Hershey's always been selling food service type items. In fact, the first food service item we really started was in 1926, and it was the first time we had Hershey syrup. Since then we had a number 10 can that we had for over 100 years. But over the course of time, we gradually started to find that if we took items that were typically sold at retail and put them in a larger food service size pack, there was opportunities to add value in restaurants. Um, Over the past probably 20 years, we've gone from selling some food service ingredients in larger packs to having a dedicated food service business unit. And it was started in 2004 by Herb Ring, who's the director of global food service for Hershey now. And we sell multiple products that you might find at retail, like Reese cups, except we chop them and sell them in various bulk size pack types. But we also do that for Hershey, Kit Kat, Heath. And then on the syrups and sauces, we have Hershey syrup, but it's in bulk formats. Everything from a 7.5 pound jug to 1,000 pound plus tote. So a lot of range of variety of different pack sizes we make specifically for the industry as we've tailored our business to meet really operators' needs.
Okay, that makes sense. Speaking of operators, what are some co-branded dessert menu opportunities that operators and companies could pursue?
It's a great question. So uh, really, there's many. It's probably only limited by the imagination. Our chef, just on our own HersheyFoodservice.com website, we've got over 400 different co-branded, potentially co-branded recipes. And the range goes from everything from a brownie that has Hershey's chocolate chips in it, to a shake with Reese cups, to one of my recent favorites was a s'more skillet dessert, which is just using a skillet with melted chocolate, marshmallow, graham crust to create a memorable, shareable dessert. So there's really a wide range of offerings. Those are just some examples, but you run the gamut of dessert offerings. There are different ways to incorporate our, Hershey's key brands to add value to drive traffic, repeat purchase, and give opportunities to sell more.
Those all sound really good. Really tasty. So speaking of that, what sort of dessert trends have you been seeing this year?
This year, I think I can speak for everybody. There's just been a lot of economic uncertainty, and uncertainty in general for the past few years. So consumers have been actually looking for a little bit of comfort. We saw over COVID that the night out to go get dessert with a family was a huge outing, and it was a really big deal for our industry. More recently, though, we're finding that people look to dessert for a little bit of splurge. It's sometimes the treat yourself familiarity. So it might be someone going to pick out something for themselves. A lot of the time, though, we've seen that dessert is what brings people together. So when you think about special events in people's lives, dessert's usually part of it, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, any type of party, dessert's generally there. So it's a reason to draw people together. And so people are coming back to a lot of their familiar favorites. It sometimes is over the top and innovative, but more often than not, it's really nostalgia and classics that come in a reimagined format. So an example might be a carrot cake milkshake. Banana cream pie flavors are really popular now. Peanut butter, Reese's peanut butter, I should say, and jelly, really popular right now as well. We also continue to see s'mores being popular. So when I think about s'mores, I think about campfire or even the backyard fire. Just it's nostalgic. But now s'mores, you see it taking shape where people can make s'mores in multiple ways. Whether it's a shake, whether it's a s'mores baked good, whether they make a s'mores at home creation. But we're continuing to see it as a incorporated as a deconstructed menu concept and a lot of different desserts.
That makes sense to me. I think we saw that on the snack side too for snack food and wholesale bakery. A lot of people are really into nostalgic treats and like treating yourself during the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's similar. It's, similar consumers that are going both places. And I think there's probably a lot of crossover in trends as well.
Yep, for sure. The last question I have, and you kind of answered this, but what sort of desserts do you think consumers will seek out like later this year, maybe even next year? Do you think they'll still be looking for nostalgic treats or something else?
Uh, you know, I've seen nostalgia in my time in food service continue to maintain a place there. So we do think nostalgia is going to continue to have a place. But there's some other things that are coming along board in a meaningful way too. One of them is dessert boards. So bite-sized pieces of desserts in shareable formats. The other thing that can be shareable as well is oversized desserts. So if you're going to go big, go really big. So think about crumble cookie, who in the past 2 years has just been on fire, and other cookie formats as well. But it's big, large, indulgent desserts, a lot of times that are handheld that you can share with others. Other formats we're seeing are multiple textures. So creamy and crunchy. On the snack food side, you probably saw creamy and crunchy Reese's.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing some of the same things in food service. So textures, playing those against one another, sometimes giving folks flights to compare them is a big deal. You'll see some operators offering, Reese's creamy and Reese's crunchy and let consumers pick their favorite. Another format, I think we're still new on the dessert side, but it's going to be plant-based. So plant-based is huge in protein and center of the plate. Certainly more mainstream now than it was pre-COVID. The Hershey company just launched 2 plant-based items in the past few weeks around Reese's and Hershey's. And we think there's going to be a future environment for those in food service desserts. We're not there yet, and we're not offering it, but we think there's probably going to be a trend there. So we're certainly devoting some thought to how might we play there. Couple other quick things on that last question. Gen Z has really become the leader in, for us, seeking connection with others through sharing meals. So where millennials more often were at home, might be ordering takeout, Gen Z wants to get out and they want to find connections with others. And sharing meals, memorable experiences, and shared desserts are a big part for that specific demographic consumer. And I don't think you have to be Gen Z to appreciate that. I'm certainly not, but I feel the same way. But it's definitely a trend we're seeing. The other trend that probably ties in a little bit of that generation, but spans a bunch, is TikTok-driven style social media is driving more dessert trends. So one trend can take off like that on social media, and it's 99% of the time not anything a company creates. It's something consumers are creating. Well, those are forcing operators and manufacturers to be more nimble than they have in the past. How quickly can you respond and catch a wave? That's what they're seeing. And then finally for us, and this is really a Hershey-centric insight, but we're seeing our Kit Kat really be more popular with Gen Z. And so that's taken off for us a lot as a new area of opportunity.
Kit Kat is really interesting to me because you always see like the Japanese flavors and things like that.
Yep.
I think I ordered one the other day and it was like tea flavored or like Earl Grey tea, because I was just so curious. I was like, is it going to taste like tea or what's it going to taste like?
And did you try it yet? Have you gotten it?
I did. Yeah, it was interesting. It actually definitely tasted like tea, but it was like too much tea.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a tea fan, but I'm not like a mega fan. So, but it was still good. I liked
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, internationally, Kit Kat, there's a lot of flavor combinations. In fact, they have whole retail stores devoted to it. For us as a Kit Kat as a retail brand, we've seen a ton of unique ways to take bars and layer in flavors. So if you're a Kit Kat fan, you're probably familiar with the birthday cake.
Yep.
Which is coming out as a permanent full-time item in the
Okay.
near future. For us in food service, though, it's Kit Kat is a great platform to add in a lot of other flavors. So you can make a Kit Kat caramel milkshake, but you can also have, Kit Kat with multiple other flavors. So for us, that's been a fun thing to tie back into some of the Gen Z, bringing people together demographics. Operators in general, like their consumers, new innovation is fun for traffic drivers to grow trips. And for us as a business, that's a big part of what we do. We use our brands to help drive traffic, more trips, for operators to increase their check size and have more impulse dessert purchases.
That makes sense. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but thanks for being here with us today.
Yeah, great to be here, and thanks for the time.